Did you know movement can actually help kids learn and focus? We'll take a look at a couple of creative new ways kids are getting their energy out. And a new Metro program is helping to answer questions and address community concerns, block by block. All that and more is coming up on this episode of the 502 Report. Hi, and welcome to this episode of the 502 Report. I'm Nikki Lechniak. What happens when dozens of city workers and community partners gather to help clean and build up a neighborhood? It's just the beginning of an initiative called Building Our Blocks.
This is the best place to be right now.
Tell someone you're going to do something, get it recorded, is an act of compassion.
And our eggs is gone.
We're here to show the power of collaboration and to help connect, clean up, and build up the Smoketown community.
Yeah, we'll just go every single house and go up the street together. I think that's gonna really work out. So, all right, you guys ready to head out? Let's rock and roll. Logan Street is our destination. Hey, Team 3, hey, you know what? We're the A team. Right there. Right.
Building Our Blocks, an all-in, inclusive effort to bring Metro services together in a coordinated impact for the community and inspire neighborhood pride and to raise the life experience for all citizens of Louisville.
It's early in the morning. We're waking some residents up, but yeah, it's a good thing. You know, we're smiling. You know, we're bringing joy.
Yeah, definitely a good thing. Keep a good work up. I like it. I like it. Clean up the neighborhood anyway. Guys looking good too.
Also some plywood in the front. How do you want to handle those?
Police, fire, you know, we have Office of Performance Improvement, housing, Metro government agencies, just coming together to provide services for citizens.
I'm super pleased to see folks out today. And it does show that folks really care about Louisville as a city. And I'm glad that this is something, hopefully that, folks will see people from the city actually, investing in their neighborhood. I think it'll help to kind of hopefully create a dialogue. And it's great that, there's an opportunity for people to kind of express their concerns about where they live and to give suggestions for what they think might improve it.
We're proactively trying to show them that this is what we're here to do and that you can count on us. And so this is just the first step. It's a baby step. And then in the future, hopefully that gives them some confidence to make that call so that the government can come and give them the services that we're providing across the city.
Actually, 10 of us took a trip to Buffalo, New York, and they were doing a similar program. And we had the opportunity to just tag along and do some best practice work. So we said, hey, that's a great idea. We can bring this back to Louisville. And this is what we're doing, bringing it to Louisville and block by block.
What ended up happening, we ended up learning from each other. We ended up talking to each other. We ended up learning different facets about each other's work departments, about what each other goes through. We're able to ask questions and dialogue. Generally, you're in a meeting, you're talking about a certain subject, and that's it. We don't have this time just to talk about day-to-day issues. This is really helpful.
Everybody getting together for a common cause and seeing what we can do in 3 hours together versus the man hours we would have to put in individually providing this level of wraparound services.
I'll dial you direct. Us being out here together, collaborating together, I think that's the main point. You see Metro government at its best, and I want the citizens to see us at our best.
This tells the city and the employees that Louisville is a compassionate city that works with and builds with. We're together, we're all in.
Really pleased to see how many people came out. I mean, it's fantastic.
I think it's a wonderful thing. It's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing.
to see us all come together, unite, and clean up the neighborhood.
When the residents find out what's going on, they're like, wow, this is much needed. I mean, they realize that they need it, you know, and it's a support and help, and that somebody cares enough to come out and clean up. And I think that's the overwhelming message that I think that you will receive.
You know, you got to talk to folks and see what they need, see what they want, and do what you can.
Helping the neighbors here to get it cleaned up, it will actually make it better for everybody.
The point is not to do to, not to do for, but to collaborate, work together, handshakes. And that's how we all have great outcomes together.
Last year, the Compassionate Schools Project brought mindfulness-based education to students at 3 JCPS pilot schools. This year, thanks to its success and some additional funding, the program is expanding.
Take a big breath in.
They were making their body breathe. And by breathing, they calm themselves down. And if you're calm, you can learn and you can focus. And so this helps children be able to focus themselves, to control themselves, and to be able to take in what school has to offer them.
And out.
After an initial pilot of 3 Jefferson County public schools last year, we are launching full implementation of the Compassionate Schools curriculum in 26 schools over the next few school years.
Louisville, it's a diverse community, it's a large community, it's the kind of community that if you can make it work here, it can be a model for the rest of the country.
Really, it's the goal of every family, is to have children who are adaptable, flexible, able to learn, able to grow, and able to share their emotions, able to show love and compassion. We need children who will stop and think and say, okay, I need to calm down because I'm feeling upset. And I see children who are starting to stop what they're doing and think about it. That right there is what everybody wants.
Do you feel more rested and relaxed?
We want people who really think about the consequences of their actions.
Louisville, it's a diverse community, it's a large community, it's the kind of community that if you can make it work here, it can be a model for the rest of the country.
Is it possible to turn screen time into a fun way for kids to learn and get exercise? JCPS is partnering with Corsair Children's Hospital to find out.
This is the most sedentary generation ever. We started GoNoodle with a mission to restore movement to kids' daily lives.
So we can get all our wiggles out. It helps us get our muscles big.
Fill with air the whole way up.
I think it helps us learn and have fun at the same time.
So the whole idea behind GoNoodle's movement videos and games, each that last about 3 to 5 minutes at a time, that we can get kids running and jumping and dancing and stretching right in their classroom next to their desks or in their living room in front of a television or a computer. When kids move in the classroom, we know they're better behaved, they're better focused, and they perform better academically.
Out of every 10 inmates at Metro Corrections, between 2 and 4 have serious mental health issues. Through a new program, community partners are helping to connect their clients with the services and support they need to help keep them out of the system.
Persons with mental health issues are overrepresented in the jail population.
We do have a lot of familiar faces that cycle in and out.
This is my screen saying on Facebook.
And those are the individuals with mental health issues, with substance use issues.
The way treatment has often been set up is in silos, so people can get substance abuse treatment here, mental health treatment 20 blocks away. That's a real challenge, and that's why often they end up back in the system.
Their support systems are not in place outside of jail, so their reality is jail homelessness, jail homelessness. And one of the goals here at LMDC is to implement and develop programs that can support individuals outside of jail.
They've made mistakes, but there's a lot of good people out there wanting to make changes.
Give them that opportunity for a positive change in their lives.
Kind of create, better environment, more people, more support.
Second Chance really tries to integrate that treatment. We assess those individualized needs for each person, and we devise a treatment plan to work with that. And so far, I think the mechanics of it have been very successful. We've done a lot of planning with Metro Corrections, and We have a fairly seamless process. If someone's referred and accepted, that they go into the program almost immediately. Our staff pick them up from the jail and get them enrolled in services that day.
He didn't forward it to us yet. I'm an adult peer support specialist. I get a lot of satisfaction to try to reach out to someone that's had similar experiences that I've had. I've had some criminal history in my background, and I've had some drug and alcohol issues. I was able to rise above it. I think this is a great opportunity, and I think we're going to help our peers. They know the answers. It's just helping them get there. When someone comes at them with genuine compassion and care, it scares them and they run because they're not used to that. They're not used to somebody believing in them and wanting to help them.
Change is really hard.
We've had a few clients who've been back to jail 3, 4, 5 times.
Just agreeing to therapy, especially intensive therapy, is very intimidating. But I think you have people who've cycled in and out of the jail and they make a decision about their own life and recovery and they decide they want to get better. And that's typically when it's very successful.
Jails, drugs, alcohol abuse, petty crime isn't a life. It's not in existence. We have a support system here that's really awesome. We can offer them housing and therapy and support, walk with them hand in hand. If they're hungry, there should be a lot of good success out of this program.
Louisville Metro's Center for Health Equity celebrated its 10th anniversary by opening the conversation up to the community, asking the simple question, what's your dream for Lou?
Every year that goes by in the city, the gap grows larger and larger between the haves and the have-nots.
Ending disparities and working toward equality is the goal for Louisville Metro's Center for Health Equity.
They've invited you all, the community residents, Louisville Metro employees, and policymakers to sit side by side to craft policy proposals that will make this city a more fair and more just place for all of us to live.
It hopefully means that the city is trying to, or at least wants to, make some moves in the future to make sure everyone in the city has an equal chance.
The event kicked off with a photo voice exhibit.
I think it's very interesting.
Community members used a combination of words and images to tell their stories.
That's the thing that we don't always get, is the other person's perspective.
Topics range from the heroin epidemic to homelessness and sexism.
One of the things that I love about Photo Voice is that people have the opportunity to speak from behind the camera. What they see, what they're experiencing, it can tell such a story about the experiences of their lives.
Attica Scott spoke about the struggles she's seen and experienced.
We need no more housing or school segregation by race. We need to build affordable housing in every neighborhood. That means every neighborhood.
But it was the dreams of one 6th grader that really captivated the audience.
I want to ask a young man to come up to the podium with me right now that's representing JCPS today.
As the future mayor of Louisville, I want to help funding education for youth citizens in Louisville. I want to help make jobs affordable in Louisville. I want to help the poverty-stricken communities of Louisville.
The goal of this event? To get the community thinking and talking and excited about making real positive change.
If we all get together, hopefully we can steer the city and the city government towards a more equitable future.
My dream for Lou is that everybody will understand that you are powerful enough to be able to contribute to an amazing society, that everybody else that you encounter will understand that beauty and that power within you.
What we've found for a very long time is that plants and soil can actually remediate a lot of the impacts that we cause to the earth, and they have an amazing capacity to do so.
Trees naturally clean the air and soil around them, but just how much of an impact can planting them make on our health? The Green for Good project at St. Margaret Mary Catholic Community aims to find out.
Trees and shrubs are going to be planted along the front lawn of St. Margaret Mary to create a living filter for roadway air pollution. This experiment, we hope, will confirm that by strategically placing greenery, we can block the pollution caused by cars and help the students breathe easier here in the school.
what we're doing here is basically planting this buffer and studying at a high level of rigor exactly how much particulate matter and VOCs we can remove. What happens with the plants is literally the leaves have a charge on them, and so they're attracting particulates to them. And they have little hairs on them that work like little filters to capture it. And they're so dense that as we water them, the particulate matter falls off. And as the rain comes, the particulate matter falls off, and they're there to filter the air again.
Air quality and student health data has already been collected as a baseline for the study. Once the living filter has been planted, experts will collect and study the data to measure any noticeable changes.
Because we believe that this is all going to represent a new way of understanding health with your help. And so I want to thank you, and I am convinced that what we're doing today is we're beginning a new way of looking at health in a truly holistic way.
It blends residential and business and recreation and arts and virtually every aspect of urban living in one place, and it does it seamlessly and beautifully.
Old Louisville is one of the country's greatest places, according to the American Planning Association.
When you think about what we bring together on a day-to-day basis in this neighborhood, it's pretty phenomenal.
Great Places in America is a flagship program of the American Planning Association that celebrates places with exemplary character, quality, and planning. This year, thousands of submissions were received from across the United States.
We've always known we're one of the great neighborhoods in the country, and we've always said that as well, but it is nice to get a national recognition because certain things come with that in terms of attention, tourism to help the businesses in the area, add a little bit to the soul of the community when we come here as well.
Seen a lot of road crews along city streets this year. With a paving budget nearly 4 times that of last year, it's no wonder.
Anybody who's driven along our city streets in recent years will tell you that our streets needed to be paved.
Officials recently gathered to celebrate the 100th mile paved, something the city hasn't achieved since 2007.
We put together a 10-year plan so that we can directly attack the deferred maintenance issues. So in 10 years, we'll have a tackle on deferred maintenance issues on our roads, and so we can really do transformational projects to make Louisville the great city that it can be.
At this pace, crews are expected to pave a total of about 130 miles of roadway by the end of the year.
There's a tapping on the window.
Reading to kids early in life can help set them up for academic success. Last year, about 3,000 soon-to-be kindergartners completed the library's 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten Challenge.
When you think about 100% completion of the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten initiative, that's a big deal to have 100%. So I want to say thank you guys so much for your attention and focus on that, and for our young students for listening and learning their letters and numbers as well. That's a really big deal for our community.
3 blocks of Bardstown Road from Baxter Avenue to the Douglas Loop were blocked off, all in honor of one outgoing councilman.
CyLouvia.
Cycleville?
The event's called Cyclic July.
Cyclic July.
I pronounce this event CyLouvia, with the emphasis on the Lou as in Louisville.
No matter how you pronounce it, it's a way to experience parts of Louisville like you never have before, in the middle of the street.
And it's almost like flies flocking to honey. They're attracted to that major thoroughfare. The whole idea is to change the relationship between the humans and the machine. So the pedestrians and peddlers, the scooters, all of those folks have the dominance of the street.
And there was one very dominant cyclist, Councilman Tom Owen, who kicked off this event that is now named in his honor.
What's really special about this event, just from what I've seen, is just how open it is. Anybody, not just cyclists, walkers, runners. Over down at the skate shop, they have a little mini skate park set up. When we have our barrier set up, it's just sort of displaying the cycling community of Louisville, which is pretty awesome.
You see the businesses, the intersections, the relationship of business corridor to neighborhood. You see your relationship to neighbor in a much, much different light.
For us, it's a little different than everybody else. We like it because we get to skate on Bardstown Road, and it's something we don't get to do often, so that's why we like it. It's really what it is, to promote the skate shop and show that we like to put on fun stuff for the city and stuff like that. Just give back a little bit.
It's so great because it gets families moving and in action and just spending time together, quality time.
You are flexing not only your body, but you're flexing your spirit and flexing your mind. Seeing things, seeing people, seeing the world differently. It sparks or energizes a sense of community, a sense of belonging, a sense of excitement about place. But I sure think it is a valuable, exciting opportunity, and it's a great day to do it.
Did you know that many of the artists who carve pumpkins for the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular work 2 jobs before and during the event? Here's a look at one local artist responsible for some of those gourds.
My name's David Honecker. I work here at the Hornet's Nest as my regular full-time job. I've always been into drawing and art. It never really seemed like something that was plausible to make a living doing, but Louisville's afforded me that opportunity. I spend 48 hours a week here, sometimes by appointment, sometimes walk-ins. It's always interesting because there's different clients coming in with different needs and different ideas, and every day there's something new, something unexpected. It's really cool to be able to make a living doing creative things. During the fall, I also work on the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular. This is the 4th year for the pumpkin show here in Louisville, and I got involved at the end of the first year. The guy that I went to school with, he was working on it, and he called me and said that they needed some artists to help finish out the last round. The guys at the show taught me the basics of like what works, and it was something I took right to. I think my background in relief carving and printmaking kind of helped with that because I understand light values a lot. They have a theme for the show. This year's America the Beautiful. There's 141 intricates. We do it in 2 stages. First we draw the pumpkins and then we carve them. We carve them at the last few days right before they go out on the trail so that they're fresher as they go out. I try to find the right pumpkin for their image and something that's going to work. If it needs to be a really big pumpkin and it's a detailed image, it's going to be a little bit more time consuming. I'll spend anywhere from an hour to 6, 7, 8 hours sometimes, depending on the pumpkin and the image. But I usually start off with like whatever's the most obvious spot. Like I know that's going to be real bright. This one's going to be a lot of detail and like all the wrinkles and stuff are what's going to make this one interesting. Some people will do the same ones over because they really enjoy doing whatever subject or whatever. I like change, I like do different things. It's part of why I like tattooing. But with the pumpkins, like there's a lot to choose from. There will be generally at least 3 rounds of pumpkins that go out. You set a piece of cut up fruit in the woods and it's gonna rot, squirrels are gonna eat it, bugs, whatever else. Composition is the first thing that I consider whenever I'm planning a pumpkin, like what it's gonna look like, how much of the space it's gonna take up, if it's gonna wrap around the pumpkin.
No flash photography, no smoking of any kind. Have a great night.
Every pumpkin glows a little different. To people that aren't looking at pumpkins a whole lot, they probably don't look all that different, but some of them are darker, some of them are lumpier, different shaped. Light passes through them very differently. And on some pumpkins, the green spots don't glow at all. Sometimes they don't give you much trouble. A monster-y type pumpkin like this, where it's sort of a made-up guy, doesn't have to specifically look like Prince or whoever, it doesn't stress me out any. We use tools that are basically modified clay loops. Like we'll take those and sharpen them, and I change the shape of some of them to do exactly what I want. And we carve partway into the skin. We don't go all the way through like a traditional jack-o'-lantern, but it's partway through to allow light through. The thicker the skin is, the less light passes through. So if you make a deeper cut, it lets more light pass through. Value is what it's about. Dark contrast, subtle values, details and things like that. Sometimes it's about subtlety though. I'll have an image that like I can do something really interesting with the lighting techniques or the light effects. If you can get shadows and things like that, it can be really cool. Those are the things that really make a pumpkin. The pumpkin show on a whole, like it's so magical. Like you walk through there and like it's like nothing you've ever seen before. There's pumpkins all around you, and the things that we do to pumpkins, the intricates, you haven't seen those somewhere else. And even the pictures you see on Facebook and Instagram, they don't do it justice. And when you have the music and the smoke and everything around you, you're out there in the dark in the woods and there's a nice breeze and you're with your friends and stuff. It's such an experience. It's entertainment, but it's not a commercial thing that's like just going to the movies. And I do think things like that are more engaging than our average Saturday night entertainment. You get to see your neighbors and the people, and there's also people come from out of town and you get to meet different people. You get to see the way they react to a piece of art. I don't know if everybody else pays attention to that, but I do. I like deadlines. That's one thing I like about having the art fairs or a pumpkin that needs to go out at a certain time or whatever. Like, that's what I work well under pressure. Like, it's part of me. It's what I do. My wife, she's into it too, and she also sometimes, whenever I'm like been in a tattoo shop all day and don't feel like doing anything, she's like, we gotta get stuff done. Y'all ready? Gets me moving.
Metro Hall has been home to many community events.
I want to welcome everybody to Metro Hall, which is one of the, I think, most beautiful pieces of art that we have here in the community, a great piece of public art that a lot of people haven't seen.
To Mayor Fisher, supporting local art and artists is important.
We really want to honor you and celebrate your imagery and your stories.
That's what led to the Art in the Rotunda program in partnership with the Louisville Visual Art Association.
So this is a combination of recognition, but then also a little performance as well.
The private reception included a dance performance by the Arts Reach Dance Ensemble. Individuals were recognized from the Picture Love program.
Her mom is accepting on her behalf.
And Studio 2000, an 8-week summer program for high school students.
The kids did incredible things, and I'm so pleased to be here supporting you and celebrating you and all of the incredible work you've done.
Work from a variety of artists is open to the public and on display throughout Metro Hall until January 2017. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the 502 Report. Until next time, take care.
Metro TV, a public service of Louisville Metro government.